Welcome back. Here we are on episode 33 with my new favorite band, Kollektiv, and we've titled this episode The Kollektiv Post-Apocalyptic Halloween Extravaganza. So I'm here with two members of Kollektiv, and we're going to do a deep dive on the band, and we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to pass to my first guest. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and tell the audience what you do with the bands.
Well, my name is Bryce Ausherman. I am the rhythm guitarist for Kollektiv, and we've been at this for a good bit now, but we're finally starting to earn our dividends, as they say.
Yeah. Nice.
My name is Spencer Godlewski. I'm the lead guitarist of Kollektiv. And yeah, I think we got at this probably about a year ago. About a year. And it just finally started taking off, just making sure everything was tight.
I want to talk like the first question I have is what I really enjoyed about the show, and what I want everyone to know about is you guys put on an amazing show. Every aspect of the show, from the costumes to the music. So how many guys are in the band, and how did Kollektiv come together to get a shared vision of what you guys were going to present on stage? I'll start with Bryce.
Well, as far as the live show aspect, we, as a whole, have a philosophy of get it right the first time, hone in on your craft, and we're here to entertain. Why not entertain?
Yeah.
That's always been our biggest philosophy, and the fact that we were able to finally, because we have 5 members in total, the fact that we got 5 minds to think in a, forgive the pun, but a collective mindset is really something special.
Yeah, absolutely. Spencer?
Yeah, so basically, kind of where the history of the band came from is myself, Bryce, and our drummer, Diamond, were in a band previously, and we were very, we knew we could do something better than in that band. We felt very held back by the previous members, like the bassist and the singer. Like, we really felt like every time we would go 2 steps forward, we would get like 1.75 steps back. Like, it was just always this aspect for years. I was in the band for 5 years, and we kind of had an ultimatum with those guys that either we're going to go all in or we're calling it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we decided to do. Is we decided to break off from that band, started our own thing, and we found our singer Tim, or Vol as he goes by, and our bassist Michael, who goes by the Kid. I'll get to the history with him. It's kind of linked to us, and we started going with it, and we decided that we needed to put on, not only make good music, but we need to put on a show at the same time. Yeah. So where the paint came in is I'm a member of another band called Motogrator, which is originated in Santa Barbara in California. And they used to wear like tribal paint. If you don't know Motogrator, Ivan Moody, who's the lead singer of Five Finger Death Punch, used to be the lead singer of Motogrator back in the early 2000s. So I played a show with them, and I absolutely fell in love with the body paint, and I was just like, we should probably do something similar, but just not to that extreme like they do. So we wear the military garb, and we kind of try to do more stuff that doesn't look too tribal, but also very much has a more military kind of style aspect, which is kind of what we go for with this band. And it's not really a political band, but it's very inspired by kind of that political aspect of what I'm sure what you've seen in some of the images and the designs is the Soviet Union, is that the Soviet Union was very much a hive collective, like you're going to do it whether you like it or not, it's the will of the Soviet Union. So we kind of like that idea of the military garb and the paint and having that kind of
hive mind
aspect of trying to find members that are going to be all in line with that. And that's where our singer Tim came in. He really jumped the gun on it before even our first rehearsal with him. He already had lyrics to multiple songs before he showed up. We had a previous bassist that I guess you could say didn't really think his part think with the hive mind, and
Right.
we basically told him to go kick rocks. You know,
Right,
we
right.
told him to get lost. And funny enough, Michael, the bassist, was in Motograder back in like 2016, and before that, he played with them. And I hit him up and said, "Hey, I see that you're not terribly too far. You're in Washington D.C. You know, would you be willing to try out and like want to do something with this band?" And he said, "Sure." And he's done a lot, you know, contributed quite a bit and been a part of it and had a good attitude. So we decided to bring him in and make him a member. So that's kind of pretty much the history of where the band came in. It's just kind of, I think there's more as far as us personally with history with other bands, and especially he and I before we met each other was just jumping from band to band to band to band, trying to find people that think alike in
Right.
what we want to do as far as music, how far do we want to go, and that's where he and I eventually met. And same with our drummer. It's just like, no, if we can push something as far as we can push it, we're going to do it. We're not going to settle for just being a dive bar kind of band. It's like, no, we really want to push and see what we can do.
Try to break through.
Yeah, break through the mold.
Let's pull up some of the graphics that we have with this, Nick. Can we pull up the first still that we have? I want to talk about who is designing the artwork. How are you guys? I loved the image. Like, you know, that was one of the first things I immediately was attracted to, was the use of this like Cold War imagery. You know, for me, my first thought when I saw you guys was like the post-apocalypse, right? Like everything is like this post-apocalypse. So I'm real curious to talk about the art aspect, the visual aspect, and then we'll take a look at let's go ahead and play out, Nick, the clip that we have, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the art and the individual band meals. We took this from your Facebook page. I thought this was awesome, fellas. Absolutely love the imagery. Tell me a little bit about who put that together and how you guys did the whole little video.
So where it came, like the imagery, like with that, like kind of this, I've always been into military stuff since I was a kid. I've always loved it. And I've always, like when I was a child, I loved putting on like the camouflage and stuff like that on my face. And I've always been into it. And I was like, we really need to do something as a band that we stand out on stage. We have to have an image. We can't, I mean, you can get up there and you can play fantastic music. You really can. It could be the greatest thing you ever heard, but if there's no image behind it, people aren't really going to pay attention, because we've both been in bands where you get up there and people are going up there and they're looking like the grunge look. You're wearing, you know, hoodies of a sports team. You're wearing jeans that are ripped. And it's just like everybody just does
Stuff
that.
that's been done to death a thousand times over.
Exactly.
So I said something a long time ago when we were in our previous band. I was like, guys, we got to do something. We have to have an image on stage. Whether it's, and we experimented with ski masks and different type of masks and doing some minor paint, like oil paint and stuff like that. And that's where I was like, let's just do something like, let's have our own unique design on our arms and our faces, but let's kind of do some, like, one day I threw this on and I did the paint and we were just like, that looks really good.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, that's our image. We should do that.
Because, I mean, we take a lot of inspiration from, like, the new metal scene, such as, like, Mushroom Head, Slipknot, Wes Borland from Limp Bizkit comes to mind a lot. And I know the word gimmick kind of has a negative connotation, but at the same time, why not have some fun with it? You know, why not put your own identity out there? And sometimes it's nice to have it come out in more than just the music.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. let's go through the individual band members. That's band photo. Yeah, band photo number 2. This was a recent show, right? This
Yes.
picture. Tell me about that show, and then we'll go through the individual band members. This was this past weekend. How'd everything go, Bryce?
Well, this past show we had at the Racehorse Tavern, and we've played there before with our previous bands, and it's usually been a good turnout, but we felt something a bit different with this one in a positive way. It was so cool to be able to go in there, and obviously we're putting on all the paint and makeup and stuff, and we peek out from behind the curtain, and all you hear is like, who the fuck are they?
Right, right,
It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
And just the energy we were able to encapsulate from that crowd was something I don't think either of us were really expecting, considering how we've done before at that place.
Because a lot of the other bands that, or the band that we were in previously that we played there, and people liked the music. They enjoyed the music that we were in. But
Yeah,
again,
I loved it.
we were very, with this project, we decided to do something that was a little bit heavier because we also felt that we were very limited with the previous band that we were in. So we also wanted an image that would go with it. And then with the turnout, we were really excited about going back to the Racehorse Tavern, because some people knew that we were coming and knew who we were, but this was going to be a new project, and people were just like really blown away. Like Nick Mayers from 717 Entertainment LLC, who I've worked with previously. He said that I'm not very easily impressed, but you guys blew me away with what you have done. And it's like he was saying, we came out and had to get stuff ready, and people had to do like double takes at us. People were wearing like costumes there and stuff, like the usual stuff, like Slutty Cat, Toad from Super Mario.
Halloween
but we
costume.
walk out there with all this on, and of course in that image, which we have more detail put on us and everything like that, and more paint, people were just like, what is this? And then when we started playing, people really started gravitating because it was something they hadn't seen, and it was something they hadn't heard before.
That was my feeling too when I saw you guys out at Bad Habits. Was like, holy shit, I got to talk to these guys. This is awesome to see this level of commitment for a local show. Let's talk about the individual band members that you have. This is the first graphic that we have. Who is this and his role in the band?
This is actually our drummer, Diamond, and I actually met him after I auditioned for the previous band we were in, and dude has just got hellacious presence behind the kit.
Yes, he does. I thought he was a great drummer.
I think he's been playing since he was like 3 or 4 years old, and that's his passion. And he was in the same boat as us. Like the 3 of us were the ones that came together and said, we can do something so much better. And that's where this came from.
In the previous, it always felt like we were in this chokehold that we couldn't really express the way we wanted to. And once I heard him, when we finally cut the strings loose on him, it was just night and day. Oh my God, we were holding this kid back.
Yep.
Yeah, I gotcha. Our next image.
That is Michael Stewart. He goes by the Kid. Also, Diamond goes by Pogo. We call him Pogo because of his Pogo stick.
Casey's clown name?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but
Bit of a double entendre.
yeah, Michael Stewart, who's he goes by the Kid because that was his name in his previous band. It's just kind of stuck.
The Kid, I got
He
you.
plays the bass. He
Actually showed up on pretty short notice and just blew us away.
Yeah, because I sent him the scratch tracks and sent him playthrough videos, and he showed up to practice already knowing majority of them and just fine-tuning them with us versus because finding a bassist was difficult there for a while. We had people coming all over the place and just didn't like the idea of being part of a band, but
Wasn't willing to put in the dedication we demanded.
versus
Right.
then he shows
Right.
up and he already met our expectations right then and there. So he's a great. I mean, I like him. I think he's a great
been
guy.
a great fit.
Yeah, he's been
If
great.
Michael is watching, Michael, you shared this image of 3-Eye Atlas, and I want to know the source of that image so bad. I'll probably end up messaging him. But yeah, I thought he was great on bass too. Our next image. That's you.
That's me.
Tanook.
T-Nuck is the nickname we went. It's not as clever as people think it is. It's just cunt backwards. that actually came from a practice where we were trying to play a song that I brought to the band, and I was known as the cunt for that part. So I'm like, why don't we just reverse it? And there we have it. And it just kind of stuck.
No, I love that.
Tongue-in-cheek aspect.
Oh, that's funny. And what's our last? That's you, Spencer. I loved that image.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
So my stage name is Sequoia.
Sequoia.
So it originally was something else, but I decided to kind of disembark from that. But I decided to go with Sequoia because they're a arms manufacturer in Russia. So, and I've always liked the way the Russian dialect always has been. So that's why I was looking up. I think they're a jet manufacturer. I think they make like the Su jets, the SUs and stuff like that. I have to double check, but I just saw the name Sukhoi, and I was just like, I really like that.
Rolls off the tongue pretty well too.
Now, with the stage names, are you guys trying to develop like a whole character on stage with the name, or what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would like to think we kind of are in the starts of creating our own little universe for the whole concept of Kollektiv. Because
stage personas, basically.
Yeah, essentially. Because my biggest concept with the name Kollektiv is we as the band aren't the collective, the fan base is the collective. It drives back into that hive mind mentality. You're either with us or you're against us, and I don't think you want to be against us. That whole more militant... we're here to fuck shit up whether you like it or not.
Yeah, we were hoping that maybe we could call our fans comrades.
Yeah. No, I love that too. I love that too, comrades. I love that. That's awesome. And then we have one more graphic on this is the new gas mask that you had sent us, Spencer. Let me ask where you guys are at with, because we have some music that we're going to play. Nick, you want to play like a minute of one of the songs?
Yeah, you're going to talk. I'll just play it underneath it.
You said these aren't mastered. So let's talk about, and we'll let Nick play this underneath of us. This is awesome.
Bryce.
Yes.
What if it always known? How can the truth be shown? All of my hopes and fears engineered to drain our years. No form, same old slave. Worn down from a young age. But the time the end draws near, there's nothing left inside of here. But I know, yes I know, violence is a science.
You can go ahead and pull that down. Where are you guys at right now with getting your music out there? What are you guys working on? Because I want to know what's next. I want to see where you guys are going with this.
Well, we're so close to finishing the recording in the studio. The last thing we're waiting on is vocals, but that's coming up real soon.
Now, this is a feature length,
So we kind of have like a roadmap set up. So this is an EP. It's going to have 6 songs on it.
Awesome.
We have one more date left, and that's for vocals for just the last 3 songs. Everything else is finalized, and then after that, it's mix and mastering, which should probably only take a couple more weeks. And then we're hoping to have it like
out everywhere,
digitally everywhere in December. And then we're going to have physical copies manufactured for shows.
So this is literally some of you guys as Kollektiv, your first recordings together as a band.
Yep.
That's pretty incredible. That's always an exceptional time.
And
that's awesome.
Like I said, we kind of have like a roadmap. We have this, and then we have some singles after that we want to get out, like releasing some individual songs. So we have like 3 or 4 of them that we want to start doing, and then eventually after that is start maybe think about doing like another EP or doing a full-length album. But we're kind of going the way of EPs and singles right now. Kind of seem to be
just to keep that momentum going.
Rather
Yes.
than waiting for years at a time to do an
Yeah.
album and
Yeah.
saving money, that we can do more smaller portions of
Right.
things that we can
Right.
really just kind of keeps the constant flow of something and keep something fresh.
Now, what genre of music do you guys consider Kollektiv to be in? And then on a more personal level, I got a couple questions I want to ask you guys as musicians.
I'd say just kind of a new metal.
I was gonna say
Hybrid.
new metal with a modern hybrid twist
New
is
metal.
what I'd really
Yeah.
classify it as.
Because new metal was my absolute favorite genre of metal when it came out in rock, when the late 90s, early 2000s. That was just, to me, that was the pinnacle, and then it went away, and then rap took over again, and pop music, and now it's kind of slowly starting to resurface, and we're like, that's my favorite.
This-
It's one of his favorite. So
You want to bring that up a little bit? This is the second song you sent us. What's this one titled?
oh, this one,
I can't.
it's already over. It's already
Yeah,
over.
it's already over.
Yep. So originally it had a code name that we called it Kill Switch, because on the guitar I have a kill switch that's doing so, but I'm like, I don't want to keep calling it that.
Right,
so we
right.
called it It's Already Over. So this was one of the first ones I think we did.
I was
just
just say
three
this
of
was
us.
really the first original that came out with this project. But yeah, when it comes to the music and stuff, we're both fans of songs that have like a vibe, a groove, you know, something that can sit well in the pocket but still rip your face off.
Something you can
Both-
connect to, but shake your ass to at the
Yeah, I
same
was gonna
time.
say something you could either mosh it out or hit the dance floor with.
And I think like with the theatrical aspects of what you guys are doing too, I mean, that's so deep in rock and roll. I mean, fuck, man, I was thinking when I was real young seeing Gwar, right? In
Yeah.
the 80s, I saw Gwar and, you know, the costuming and the energy that those guys would put into that stage presence. They worked on a movie for a long time too, like the Gwar movie. So, no, I love where you guys are going, and I wish you guys a lot of success. So my question always with artists is one of the things I enjoy exploring is your creative journey, like how this began for you, Bryce. How did music become part of your life? How old were you? How does this thing that becomes so a deep passion of yours, where did it originate from?
Well, for me, it's a little funny. I remember I was probably, I want to say it was like 2003, 2004. I was at my neighbor's house as a kid, and his brother was on the Comcast channel guide whenever that was a thing, and you could watch like music videos off MTV and whatnot. And he pulled up the song "Spit It Out" by Slipknot, and I'm just sitting there, my mind's being blown because I'm like, who are these scary dudes in scary masks making this scary noise? I love it.
Right.
And it really just kind of snowballed from there. I really started getting into stuff like System of a Down, Lamb of God, you know, very groove-oriented bands to where it's just like, no, this really makes you want to nod your head or, you know, stuff like that. And it's just, I've never really looked back. It's, I always attribute it to that day in the living room where his brother put this on to try to scare us, and I'm just sitting there enthralled by it.
Were you playing guitar?
I actually,
How old were you when you first? Here's one. The first time you performed in a band, how old were you and what band was it?
first band I performed in, I want to say I was like 19 or 20 at the time. It was this band that was around called Two Sides to Die.
Okay.
And,
I see their name on flyers all the time. Yeah, Two
Yeah.
Sides to Die. I think they're playing fairly recently.
Yeah, and it was fine. It was a good place for me to cut my teeth, but I kind of outgrew it. It was one of those.
and cut ties.
Yeah, but yeah, I just kind of outgrew the project. I looked at them and I'm like, I want a little bit more than this, and they were kind of just content being with where they were at, which is fine. I wish them nothing but the best, but I was like, I need to spread my wings a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And that's whenever I met this guy, and
That was a fun conversation.
that was a very fun conversation. But
good. We'll get to that.
But he actually came to one of the Two Sides practices, and that's how we met. And then he heard I left, and the band he was in at the time, he's like, hey, we're looking for a rhythm guitar player. Here's these songs. You think you can do it, even if it's a fill-in? And I'm like, oh, absolutely. You know, anything to get back out on stage, because I don't like sitting at home with my thumb up my ass just playing the same boring shit over and over again. And after that, we really just kind of gelled and took off, both as friends and musicians.
Same question to you, Spencer. I guess the first one becomes, how old are you and who introduces you to a guitar? How do you start playing?
So my story, I'm 36. I picked up a guitar, or I didn't start playing an instrument until I was 17. I had no interest in learning an instrument at all, because I think it just kind of felt like it was forced, because you always saw kids in high school learn to play the recorder or being part of band. And I was just like, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to learn an instrument. I don't want to learn that kind of stuff. So I had no interest until I used to live outside the United States. And when we moved to Pennsylvania in 2005, I was a teenager. And I discovered music videos that I didn't really know too much about. And I saw the music video called Coma White by Marilyn Manson. Yeah. And I saw Twiggy Ramirez playing that bass. I'm like, of course, I didn't really know what that was, because I had no interest in music. So I asked my dad, what is that? What kind of guitar is that? And he's like, that's a bass guitar. I'm like, I want to learn that. You know, and then my mother was like, oh, bass is just kind of like do. I'm like, no, I want to play the bass, make it my own instrument, play it like guitars. And their deal was, we'll get you a bass if you take bass lessons. So I took bass lessons for about a year, and then I was like, okay, I'm bored with this. Move on to guitar. Went to 6-string, 7-string, 8-string, baritone, and got into all kinds of crazy stuff with it, and just kind of took off. And then, as far as the first band I actually performed with, it was Two Sides to Die.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Because I was in Two Sides to Die in 2017.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I joined them, and I wrote an entire album worth of stuff, and I played one show with the band, and it was just stagnant. It was not moving. It was not going anywhere. And I'm like, I'd rather be on my own. And so I started releasing my own solo albums and stuff like that. So I got away from that. And then I joined like a pop punk band that was just a college thing. And I wasn't in college. I was much older than these kids. But it was something to do.
Yeah.
Then I joined a band after that. I'm not going to mention their name because they do not deserve the credit. That's where Diamond came in, because he replaced their drummer. And that's where their rhythm guitarist also quit, and that's where I asked him to come into that band, and that's the band that we just said, we're gonna split off and make Kollektiv. And that's what we did, and we've been working at it. And it's kind of how we met. Was Two Sides wanted to kind of bring me in to help and be like kind of like a manager or something, and I wasn't really on board with that, but I said, yeah, I'll help you out of the kindness of my heart or whatever. And he never said a word to me.
No.
Like the whole time we were there. I don't know if it was like animosity, like, oh, he was in this band before me or something, but never said a word. He's minding his own business. And something came along where, somebody asked me like, oh, what you been up to? I think it was Marshall, the drummer at the time. I said, what you been up to? After about being around for like an hour. And I was like, oh, I just sit around at home, sleep, play video games, watch Fudanari hentai and porn and all that. And he turns around and looks at me and goes, a man of culture, I see.
and that shot it right then.
Instantly, like, I just did this slow turn at him, and I'm like, I think I'm going to like this guy. So just making a stupid joke like that.
No, that's awesome.
That's just kind of how we connected.
It seems so small in the retrospect, but at the same time, it was just like that spark that hit.
It's usually how it happens when you meet people. It's just like you showing up there and,
at Bad Habits,
and here we are.
Stalking the band.
Yep, and then it's just kind of like you can say one teeny tiny thing.
And boom.
And then next thing you know, you're working together. So
it's super awesome.
That's kind of how it came, kind of how that came to fruition. I mean, back in 2023, when I was with Motogrator, we played at the Blue Ridge Rock Fest in Virginia in 2023 with that. And luckily we played during the week. We didn't play during that complete ass disaster of a show that ended up being on the weekend with the rain and the hail and the lack of bathrooms and just the heat and everything like that. But being up there on stage and playing in front of a couple thousand people was just really incredible. And I'm like, if I could find musicians along that in the same mindset, like him and the guys that we have, is like, that is our end goal, is that we want to get to playing festivals. Now we're not even talking about like playing in front of 100,000 or like what Five Finger Death Punch does or Limp Bizkit. That's a dream. But just even be able to play at local festivals like we've seen that where you're in front of a couple hundred people. You know, it's just like that.
As opposed to 12 people at Bad Habits, which is like all the band members, right? One of the things that we do with this show, it started out with like a conspiracy theory kind of thing, which fits in perfectly with you guys, right? Like the inspiration for. So this is episode 33, and I kept hearing that there's all this shit about 33. Like, I've heard this my whole life. Like, a witch taught me this shit. And, like, I look back now, that witch went on to become a lawyer. So when she was studying witchcraft, she was studying witchcraft like she studied law. So I've always thought, but 33, Christ dies at 33. My mother died at 33. Let's play the first clip, Nick.
Shows up everywhere in the universe. Your spine has 30. If you see the number 33,
can you bring it up here? There it is.
33 shows up everywhere in the universe. Your spine has 33 vertebrae carrying energy up to the crown of your head. Jesus performed 33 miracles and was crucified at 33. That's why mystics call it the number of Christ consciousness. Even in Freemasonry, the highest degree of enlightenment is the 33rd degree. The number 3 represents harmony, body, mind, and spirit. When you double it, you amplify its power, turning harmony into mastery. When 33 shows up in your life, it means you're being called to rise above the material and step into spiritual mastery. It's the teacher number, alignment between the physical, mental, and divine. Tonight, close your eyes and imagine light rising up your spine, touching all 33 steps until it reaches your crown. Whisper, I am aligned with higher truth. That's how you activate the 33 code within you. Save this and comment 33 if you're ready to step into higher
Bryce, had you ever heard any of this stuff on the number 33 before?
I've definitely had it appear in bits and pieces throughout my life. I think the biggest degree I've always heard it, at least the most common form, is the karmic rule of 3. Anything you do, good or bad, it will come back in the same 3 times as such.
Right.
That's always been the biggest method I've always had access to, and yeah, it is a little odd that it just is a little everywhere.
Chris and I were talking in the garage. It appears on a Rolling Rock bottle, and no one can. It's never been said why.
Why that?
Number 33 is on the. Is
the
labeled
Roll-
on
Yeah,
Rock
that's
bottle.
crazy because that's one of the beers I drink is Rolling.
I like Rolling Rock too.
Club 33 and I think Disney World. Or
Oh, well, that's our third video. Let's go ahead and look at our next clip, and we'll get Spencer's reaction. This is another 33.
Blast a rocket into space. Then he spent $33 billion to merge his companies. Strange, it gets weirder. He tweeted, "The downfall of the Freemasons was giving away their services for free." Freemasons? You mean the secret builders from ancient times? People say they hid powerful knowledge in symbols and numbers. And guess what? 33 is one of their most important numbers. Now Musk is using it, like it's some kind of secret key. First rockets, then artificial intelligence, now secret warnings. Is he copying the Freemasons, warning us, or finishing something they started? Watch closely, because if Elon Musk uses the number 33 again, it might already be too late.
Spencer?
I think conspiracy theories are just hysterical, to be honest. Like, I mean, like, it's saying like the Freemason stuff. I mean, like, me, it's like, no offense to anybody out there, but the Freemasons to me are just Boy Scouts for men. So, it's just like, if that's your thing, like, because our bassist is actually a member of the Freemasons, and that's a
I've
social
got several
thing.
friends that are
So
deep into it.
It's like, if you're into that kind of thing, it's cool. Go for
More
it if
power
that's what
to
makes
you.
you happy.
Yeah.
But me, as far
I
as like
love the
conspiracy,
Boy Scouts for adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that Boy Scouts for a bit.
So
That's awesome.
to me, as far as like conspiracy theories and stuff like that, it's like, I mean, I understand like something being coincidental, but not having like a purpose, kind of like that, where it's like, you have to watch out for
Right.
these numbers because the moon is going to collide with the Earth or something
No,
like
to me,
that.
it's definitely one of those things where it's fun to look at from the outside, but I don't think I'll be wearing a tinfoil hat anytime in
It's
the
just like,
future,
I
you
got
know?
33, things in my spine. I breathe 33 something thousand times a day.
Right.
It's like, I would be concerned if I went to the bathroom 33 times a day. That's when I would be like, okay, there's something going
There's a problem
on here. It's like something. Either I have a going problem or I have a growing problem. So I need to figure something out. So
Let's look at our last 33 video. This is the Disney one you mentioned.
Disneyland's exclusive Club 33. This exclusive club is one of Disney's best-kept secrets, hidden in plain sight in Disneyland's New Orleans Square. Club 33 is not just any club. It's a place where only the elite gather, a place where a hefty membership fee of $25,000 and an annual fee of $11,000 is just the beginning. But what makes this club so special? And why are there so many rumors and conspiracy theories surrounding it? Some say it's because of the club's name, 33. Is it named after its address, 33 Royal Street? Or is it named after the 33 corporate sponsors of Disneyland at the time of its opening? Or could it be related to the 33rd degree, the highest level in Scottish Rite Freemasonry? And then there are the rumors of illicit activities, high-class escorts entertaining important guests, secret meetings, and unspoken activities. It's all speculation, of course, but it's enough to make one wonder.
Your thoughts? Club 33 of Disney?
Well, I mean,
Another Epstein Island kind of thing? I don't know.
I don't know. Disney's always had kind of a odd past when it comes to that stuff.
With kids? Yeah.
I mean, I've also heard the whole they've got his head cryogenically frozen somewhere on the premises, and I'm like, at a point you do kind of got to think, you know what, maybe dude's got the money to do so, he might just. So yeah, when it comes to Disney just as a whole, it doesn't even have to be with the 33 thing. There's definitely something going on with the mouse.
Yes. Yeah. Spencer?
I mean, I've always, like, from what I've looked into as far as Club 33, it was for, like, the sponsors and the executive. That's where Walt Disney would meet with his backers and everything, and that was, like, their club where they would meet. And I've been to it, and I've seen it and everything like that, and I'm like, it's just a restaurant. So, like me, it's like, I like hearing conspiracy theories because I think they're fun stories to hear about. But, I mean, there are some people out there who put on the tinfoil hat and are just, like, really into it. Like, they're like, yeah, I mean, like, they let conspiracy theories control their life, the way they think, their way they're political and religion and stuff like that. Versus me, I'm just like, it makes a good TikTok video.
Right, and then you come with, like, even if everything we've watched is true, so what?
Exactly.
So what?
It hasn't
Yeah.
affected my life thus far. I
Right,
still
yeah.
don't think it will in the future, but it makes for good horror stories.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. It's creative. As an artist, right? Where the conspiracy theory for me, always. When I was a younger artist, I late at night in my studio, I'd love to listen to Art Bell and the old AM radio, and Whitley Strieber had, so that and the imagination, right? You let your imagination wander as an artist, and it becomes the gestation of new work.
It takes a special level of creativity to just be able to, even if you notice something small, take it and run and create this whole big thing about it. Conspiracy theories, I look at them the same way I'd look at Halloween too. Some are masterpieces, some are goofy as hell, but either way, I'm enjoying my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Spencer, have you ever heard of the Heaven's Gate cult, like the largest mass suicide in the United States?
Oh yeah.
I had just gotten home from Central America. I turned 30. I went backpacking. You got to do something major for turning 30, so I went backpacking in Central America. I come home. I got a couch surf. I'm staying at my grandmother's, and the fucking Hail Bop comment. I'd look at it at one point at night with my grandma. Get up in the morning, look at it somewhere else. So I was listening to and following Art Bell when that whole shit went down with the Heaven's Gate. Always been fascinated by that story. One of the strangest stories ever,
absolutely.
man.
That was the one that drank the poison Kool-Aid, right?
No, that was
that's
Jonestown.
That was
Jim
Jonestown.
Jones.
Okay.
No, Heaven's Gate, they believe that an alien mothership was following the Hale Bopp comet. They were going to beam themselves up to the mothership. They all wear these sweatsuits, the same sweatsuits, the
purple
same
sweatsuits
Nike,
and
and the same, and they were all into, they wanted to become
The biggest thing,
androgynous.
yeah, it was
so
like the biggest thing was if you wanted to ascend to this alien mothership behind the comment is you had to shed your mortal body. So they believed if they committed suicide as this comet's flying by, they will be beamed up to this
Is that the one where
mothership.
all the dudes cut their nuts off?
That's the story. That's the one that's supposed to. Yes, yes, because they wanted to be asexual. They lived. They lived as a communal group, as a collective. They lived as a commune, as if they were on a mothership.
I could never cut my coin purse off for a
No,
conspiracy theory.
no, it was wild.
No,
like
was this
shit.
the one that they like jumped off a cliff and died?
No.
They timed barbiturate releases. They ate pudding.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
put
they
barbiturates
and they
in.
put
They
Okay.
laid down on the bed
Beds.
at the same time, and they put a black shroud over them.
Uh-huh.
And so when the police came in, it was just them on the bed with their sneakers,
Their shoes out, yep.
Sneakers out.
Yeah.
all
They-
wearing
they
these
rented
purple
a
track
house in, like,
shoes.
California.
Yep, it was a big
beautiful
house.
They
Okay.
were all well educated and
I was
computer
gonna,
engineers.
and most of the way they got their money was just by building websites for companies.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
because there's been so many of these like
Yeah.
cult groups that do this, like commit suicide for something or greater good. And it's like, okay, so I know there was the Kool-Aid one, and I didn't know.
That's
I couldn't
Jim Jones
I couldn't
and the
remember
guy.
what this one was, and then there was the one that they showed up. The law enforcement showed up and gunned them all down, and there was one that they
That's
jumped off
Waco,
a cliff.
Texas,
The
and
Davidians.
Branch Davidian.
Yeah, and then there was like the
Why
FLDF.
do I know all of this?
I'm in the same boat, so
yeah.
It's like I know all of them, but I can't remember. Like, okay, how did this group of people die? You know.
I'm attracted to the darker subjects in life. Clearly,
okay, it's
You know
just
what-
it's fascinating when you see these people with such a vastly different way of mindset than you
Yes.
have to just be like, even to get just like a crumb of like what's going on in their heads is just absolutely fascinating to me.
And I think that's kind of where we get a lot of the neo kind of Soviet Union look is because
Yes.
we looked at, because I've always been fascinated. I've always loved not the idea of, communism, but like I've always loved the Soviet Union since I was a kid because I like the imagery. I like the
Yes.
look of it. And it was, again, I'm not saying like I'm a communist or
Right.
anything, but I'm just saying like, I've always liked the especially going and watching and reading up on the history of like, Stalin and Gorbachev and just the Soviet Union in general of how it was and what it was created. And I was just like, I think that would be something to go with because there are so many bands out there that have drew inspiration from Nazi Germany. And with that word Nazi being tossed around so much today in politics and everything, it's just like, I think it would be best to avoid any kind of connection to that versus why don't we go for the Soviet Union? Because with that look, the military style look, and the name being spelled the way it is, and Kollektiv, the hive mind, like the Soviet Union, if you're not a part of it,
And you also in that because I look at the Soviet thing as something that's dead now, it's deceased. So inside of those are these relics, and that's what you guys feel like, right? From all of the crazy research from the Soviet Union, at one point they were trying to create fucking ape Arby's, right? Right? They were, and there's these famous experiments that they did where they transferred dog heads from one dog to another, and they were able to keep these dogs alive for a period of time. I mean, they did mind control, everything that you would find inside of us that would be inspiration for, like, you know.
And it's funny that the like neo-Soviet imagery also kind of ties into like the cult-esque imagery, because that's
Yes.
something I've always had a bit of a fascination with, that I like to think we brought forth into this project as well, is that cult aspect, that whole you're with us or you're gone, you know.
And the best example we have of that is our previous bassist.
Yeah.
So that everything was fine there for a while until he just flipped. He was trying to really like strong arm a lot of his opinion and what he wanted, and was even willing to, like, the vibe we were getting was he was willing to sink the ship.
There was no compromise within the
And
collective.
we all looked at each other and said, we're not going to go through this again like we did with the previous band, and we just told them to go kick rocks. We told them, get lost. And, you know, he obviously threw a fit, but we're just like, it's no sweat off our back. You've wasted our time. You've wasted our money.
No,
Yeah.
I'll say I think that you guys are one of the most exciting local acts that I've seen. So
Appreciate it.
You know,
Thank you.
I really do hope that you guys have a lot of success and longevity. I look forward to listening to the EP as well as seeing you guys do more videos, music, everything. You know, I wish you guys a lot of success. Before we bring this show fully to a close, let's plug any social media. I'm going to go ahead. Nick, can we bring up the Kollektiv Facebook page? So we'll start with that.
You, on your screen?
Yep.
You guys have a public Facebook page. I encourage everyone to follow Kollektiv on Facebook. I pulled a couple of things for today's episode off of the Facebook page. Whatever else you guys want to plug, please make our audience aware of where else any upcoming shows, any upcoming projects, any social media.
So we do have the Instagram,
Yep. We're on Instagram.
and that is kollektiv.pa, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we're on there as well as individuals. Like he's
I'm kollektiv.tnuck.
on kollektiv.sequoy.
So we try to make it pretty easy to find us.
So if you want to find us, follow us. 'Cause
And usually
always post.
we always try to keep up to date with any upcoming shows, any news upon the band. We do try to keep
We're
tabs
open.
on that.
No, I saw that too, and I think that's fantastic as well. That's about all I got. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss before we close?
Yeah, and I think we're hoping to get
Next
one or
show,
two
you
more.
got
we're
any
hoping to
sh-
get one or two more shows before the end of the year
End of the
here,
year.
and we're looking at getting a show in April, a bigger one with Ventana. I don't know if you know who they are. That features Stitch from Mushroom Head when he was in the band. So that's something we're looking forward to. Is like what's nice is like with who we are now is versus our previous band is like we can fit in with more of a specific type of genre and image with these other bands versus our other one where it's like you just couldn't really pinpoint where to put this band, what kind of venue, what kind of shows versus us now. It's like after people have started hearing us, that's where like, oh, I know the perfect venue, the perfect band or the other bands and shows to put us with. But I don't know if we mentioned them. I don't know if we missed or did we talk about Tim, our singer? We mentioned
plug
Tim.
Tim.
I think we mentioned him for a couple.
I think
don't
we
know if had
mentioned
his
him a little
image
bit, but
up
I
there
don't
or
know.
not.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny where Tim came in is that we were trying to find a singer and we were going through them left and right trying to find somebody.
Oh, it was like just
It was a nightmare trying to find somebody, like
in, out, in, out, in, out.
Someone
in, out.
that
Yeah.
fit the
Yep.
aesthetic and
but
fit
that's-
the band.
But that was one thing we were very prevalent on is we are not settling.
yeah, we need to
We need
find
to
the
find
person
the
that
one.
fits. And I posted something on my Facebook that said, "Hey, I need a fucking singer." And next thing I saw him post like, "Who, what, when, where?" I'm like, he used to sing like 10 years ago, got out of it because I guess some stuff hit the fan. And then next thing I know, he's showing up. He said, "Hey, do you have any songs or any demos?" And I said, "Sure." And I sent it to him. And then he showed up that following weekend and already had lyrics rolling with, I think, like 3 or
About
4
half of them, yeah.
half of them.
Just ready off rip.
Because
yeah, I
we
thought he
have-
had a strong presence at Bad Habit, very commanding, So I can definitely see how come you guys have him as the lead singer.
Yeah, dude can hold a crowd. That's
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
And what's nice between all of us is like we don't I guess I'm trying to think of the right word, is like we all work very well together, is that we can take constructive criticism. Constructive criticism. I am dyslexic, so I get tongue-tied really easy. So those two words. And we don't take offense to it, is that we can ask, look at each other, try this or try that. And especially with Tim being his way with lyrics, he's like really open to any advice, anything we can do to
we can just bounce ideas left and right, and it's just like it allows us all to grow together
instead of one being like, well, I didn't think up of that, so I don't want to use it. Versus like, that's a good idea, like, because that's how we write music.
Now you were saying there's 5 of you guys.
Yep.
How often do you guys get together and practice as 5?
Once a week.
And that's the Sundays. I think we had talked about that.
Yep.
Sundays. No, I think that's incredible.
We don't wear the paint when we practice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This has been awesome. Thank you guys for being on this show. Thanks, Waynesboro and Chambersburg, for coming this way. And thank you guys for spending this post-apocalyptic Halloween with me. This has been a blast, everyone. Kollektiv, they are worth your time, effort, and energy. Get out there and see these guys. They have an incredible stage presence, fantastic music, and really a refreshing breath of fresh air. You guys were great. I really enjoyed it. So.
Oh, we're both on the market.
Oh, there you go. They'll even leave the makeup on for you.
You want to date some dirty musicians?
Yeah. That was great. Nick, go ahead and bring us out.